Let's talk A-levels. Pupils have received their A-level and B-Tech results today. They will face lower grades than those given during the pandemic, but higher than 3 years ago. The drop in the highest grades will create strong competition for places at the top universities. The Education Secretary, James Cleverly, says the results are fair and take into account the impact the pandemic had on students.
They wanted to be able to say that their results were robust and reflected the work that they had put in. We put adjustments to recognise the fact they've had a tough and turbulent couple of years, but we've treated everyone fairly and equally across the board this year.
Now, some students may have been elated with their grades today. Others might be feeling some disappointment. But it is all about what you do next. Dr. Rachael Molitor is a lecturer in psychology at the Coventry University. Coventry University. It's a good university, that. Rachael, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Doc, I'm well, Doctor. Welcome to the programme. I think you were initially disappointed when you received your exam results.
Yes, absolutely. So when I first received my exam results, they weren't quite what I was looking at. Actually, for my first degree, I got less than 0.5% off my 2-1, so I got a 2-2. And I was so disappointed in myself, not only because I felt like I'd worked really hard, I'd been through a very personally difficult year myself, but to miss out on such a small amount. And at first I completely beat myself up about it. I was just sitting there being like, what am I going to do? But actually, I did exactly what I would advise anyone to do now. And I sat down, I thought, right, okay, I'm disappointed, but being disappointed is actually not about how you feel at that time, it's what you do with it afterwards. So I sat down and I thought, right, how am I going to do this? And I went on to do my master's in health psychology at Coventry University, where I am now, over a decade later. So clearly they haven't got rid of me that easily.
Yours is very much a success story. The concern I have, Rachael, is that every year with A-level results, there's a story, too many people have passed, it's too easy. And it doesn't, none of these comments take into account the hard work that all students put in to do their A-levels. Whatever's happening externally, they work really hard.
Oh, they absolutely do. I mean, the teaching from the teachers and the students, the work they put into it, they work exceptionally hard for their results. And yes, absolutely, as you said at the start, some people will be elated with their grades. Some people are going to feel disappointed. And it is that feeling. Disappointment is a very natural feeling. It can be, disappointed is basically a discrepancy between our thoughts and our expectations and the current situation. So yes, you might feel like, I'm disappointed with what's going on. But instead of wallowing in the disappointment, it's about, and the psychological reasons behind it is about redirecting your thinking and realising that we have less control over the situation that they've had at that time and actually what to do with that situation. So we can't change what's happened. I mean, I couldn't change, unfortunately, that I missed out on 0.5%, so I got a 2-2. I couldn't change that. But what I did is I sat there and thought, actually, what can I do to amend that, to make it better? And it's exactly the same with my A-levels. With my A-levels itself, I got 1 grade less than I wanted to get into my first area of university. So for me, I did exactly the same thing as some of the students are doing now. They're sitting there, they haven't quite got the grades they want, and they thought, what on earth am I going to do? And I did exactly the same thing. I took time out, I looked at my options, and it's got me to where I am today, but it's a different path. It's taken me longer. I mean, I've been doing 14 years of education to now finish my PhD and now be a chartered psychologist and a lecturer at Coventry University. But if anything, I would definitely argue that the difficulties that I face have made me grow more as an individual to realise actually what I can do. And yes, it may not have been the most simplest route, but realistically, what is in life?
No, nothing. There's nothing simple in life. Rachael, there's always a lot for those people that haven't perhaps got what they wanted. The other problem is going to be, because there are so many people who've passed, there is going to be a big demand on people getting their first choice university. The people may not get the university they had hoped for.
Absolutely. There are so many amazing courses out there. I mean, we do have incredible amount of universities across the country, across England, across the UK. We have so many amazing places we can go to, and there are some really incredible courses. I mean, I know myself and my team at Coventry University have had calls going all day, all morning, since about 7 a.m. this morning when students started to receive their results, and talking them through different sort of programs that we have available to them, what they can do with their grades, and really getting to understand the students themselves. So yes, grades are one aspect of getting to university, but also making sure the students feel that the course themselves is right for them, because they need to choose this course. It's their 3+ years of education, 4 years in Coventry University if you do a placement year for psychology, because that's what I lecture in. But it's this education, and if you choose a degree that you're happy with, then you'll find your future, you'll find your path. Yes, it may take longer, but it gets you there eventually to something you really, truly enjoy.
Well, again, I pass on my best wishes to everyone who's passed their A-levels and hopefully get the university of their choice. Rachel, there's a lot of conversations to be had as well about the value of going to university. I mean, it's not cheap. Is it still worth going to university? And I say that as someone who's both my kids are both at university. So is it worth the time and the money it takes to get yourself a degree?
It completely shapes people. I completely understand what you're saying, and there's many different routes to education that we do, whether it be vocational, whether it be academic. But I think that university really shaped me. And I'm not going to lie, when I went to university, I didn't know how to cook pasta. I was completely oblivious to the world of independent learning, shall we say. And I learnt so much from my journey at university. I learnt how to be independent. I learnt how to learn for myself. I learned how to not to be handheld by my teachers, but actually to understand independent learning. It taught me how to live and how to survive in the outside world, probably a little bit more than potentially when you are going through A-levels and staying at home and being with that sort of close family unit. So learning about being yourself and growing up as an individual. It also teaches you how to learn. It teaches you how to be independent. And also it gives you that stepping stone. You may not use your degree for a particular area. I know that students that have come out so far, we've got exceptional sort of percentages of people going out into the psychological field because we give them placement opportunities. So they will go into placements, they'll go into work experience, they'll have that. But the degree itself teaches you how to learn and how to be an independent person. So you can use that as an opportunity to go out into the world.
Doctor, pleasure having you on the programme. Thank you. By the way, how are you lot coping? Is IKEA still, is it closed down in Coventry?
IKEA, yes, yeah, it has. It's just a blue box of nothingness now.
Oh, that's a shame.
I used to love that place.
So everyone did. Most of my daughter's stuff came from there. I mean, I can't work out why they closed. It was so busy all the time.
I know, and what on earth are they going to do with it as well? I mean, it's when you go past it, it's a giant blue and yellow box. I mean, what are you expecting to do with it?
Rachel, thank you for joining us. Dr. Rachael Molitor, lecturer in psychology at Coventry University. I mean, Rachel's story is really good. I mean, she didn't get the degree she wanted by a whisker. But she's done a master's, a PhD. She's now teaching psychology at the university she went to. With A-level results, and then the other results that follow. But with the A-level results, there's always a story. Too many people have passed. It's too easy. There's this, there's that. No one really takes into account the hard work, the effort these young people put into it. We do really well in this country with students. I mean, the students do fantastically well. So good luck if you've achieved what you'd hoped for. It's going to be difficult getting the university you want because such is the demand. It's huge. In fact, most of the accommodations have just sold out already. So it's going to be tough. But if you have passed your A-levels, well done you. If you are the parent of someone who's had, hopefully, very good news today, it feels pretty good, doesn't it, as a parent? Because you feel like you've helped them along the way.